What's up, guys? Hey, my name is Keren, and this is the great legend, Pastor Brent.
Legendary.
And here,
in my own mind.
in everyone's mind, actually. But here, we're starting this cool segment called Let's Talk, and really, it's a conversation around answering questions people want to hear.
Right.
And so we're pretty excited about it. It's going to be laid back, chill. We're just going to talk and dialogue and answer some of your questions. And if you have any questions, matter of fact, in the comment section below, write down a question so maybe we can get to it and ask. But I'm pretty excited about this.
How often are we gonna try to do this?
Probably every week. Every week we're gonna drop a video down, preferably on Thursday, but you know how church goes, right? But we're gonna drop it on Thursdays, and we're gonna just try to see what happens. Really try to get out there to answer all of your simple and sometimes complicated questions.
Listen, I love questions. I'm a huge believer that questions are never off limits in the church. And I know some of you grew up in churches where it was like, don't ask questions and you're gonna be kicked out, or people are gonna think you're doubting. I think it's exactly the opposite. I think God loves our questions. He's not intimidated by any of your questions. I remember when I was a kid, I had questions that I thought, like, I can't ask this because there's no answer for this. Listen, Christianity is like 2,000 years old. All the questions have been answered or asked at some point. And so I just want to be, helpful and try to answer some of those questions.
And there's no such thing as a stupid question either, so you can ask anything. I'm all about
What's the saying? There's no such thing as stupid questions, only stupid people.
Stupid people. And we're not saying that you are, but
if you don't ask the question, you might be stupid because you didn't answer
so ask the question. Ask away. Yeah. Ask away. So listen, I'm pretty geek. And if you don't know what geeked is excited. So I'll probably say that a few times.
Because now I'm the old guy, so I have to.
I mean, you don't have to be.
It has to be translated to modern.
I mean, we can translate it. But hey, today's a pretty cool day.
Yep.
I'm pretty excited about today.
So what's your favorite days of the year?
My birthday.
Sweet.
I love my birthday because I get free clothes. Somebody, come on, man. I love shooting. I'm a shoe guy. I think you're.
We share that in common.
We share that in common.
We can share shoes.
I love shooting clothes. My wife goes all out, and I just love it. What about you? What's your day?
So I think Christmas is probably my favorite. Christianity has all these holidays, right? So we got Easter, we got Christmas, we got these big Pentecost Sunday, and especially in the Pentecostal world, it's a big holiday. Should be for every church because every church is Pentecostal. Right. They all started on the day of Pentecost, so the roots are the same. So you got these Christian holidays. You go back in the Bible and there's all kinds of days that they mark certain events that happen. And so you got like Passover, which becomes a giant feast. And you got all these different feasts, and the Feast of Trumpets and the Feast of Tabernacles and the Feast of Pentecost and all these different feasts that mark certain days in the Old Testament. And they were celebrated. And we do something that's kind of unique in our house. And it is actually today. Today is March 6th. And hopefully you're watching this today. If you're watching it post, you still get the same idea at least. But March 6th is my conversion day. So March 6th, 1997 is the day that God radically changed my life. I mean, I was...
Wow.
You hear these stories and sometimes they're just ridiculous. I mean, you ever have those guys come to the church and they're giving their testimony? And it's like, when I was in the crib in the nursery, I was selling drugs to the crib next to me. It's like, really? What? Are you exaggerating that a little bit?
First of all, what hospital is that?
Right. You know what I mean? It's like, man, I started smoking crack when I was 6. You're like, really?
Yeah.
You're saying you're lying. That's pretty extreme. Anyway, so I'm not going to exaggerate my testimony, but the fact is I was not walking with God. I was addicted to all kinds of stuff and just had garbage upon garbage on my life. And I knew that God had a call in my life, but I was not walking with God whatsoever. And so in my life, it came down to one fateful night, and a guy had come over to my house and he was hanging out with me, and his dad came over later to pick him up and really honestly kind of check on him to see what he was up to, I think. And Bruce Stone, who is a hero of mine, walked into my little tiny apartment might not even be right, his little studio apartment on the side of a friend's house. And I walked in and I had alcohol everywhere. I had pot. I don't know if you saw the pot, but I had that. I had just stuff all over my apartment. And he walked in and he shook his head. He said, Brent. And when he did that, it crushed me on the inside, because he was very much a father figure in my life. And I thought, my God, the way he said it was like, you're better than this. Like, what are you doing with your life? You're so much better. And I knew it, but I was running from it, and it just crushed me. And that's the night I went outside and I smoked some cigarettes and was trying to figure out, should I, again, y'all laugh. I had a nickname back then. It was Smokey, by the way.
Yeah. I might start calling you that.
Yeah. It's the fire of God smoking now.
Come on.
Anyway, so I went outside and smoked some cigarettes. And the Bible talks about counting the cost. And I think we all have to count the cost if we're really going to follow Jesus or not. And I knew, and I know we live in a world where it's not always this way, but I knew that if I give my life to Christ, it was going to change everything. It was all in or not. There was no I had tried to kind of be gray and make it was all in or not. And so I smoked some cigarettes and sat out there, and finally went back into my apartment and knelt at the couch, and God radically redeemed me and changed my life. I threw away all kinds of stuff, some stuff that some people don't even consider bad, like I was a huge Tupac fan. You don't even know who Tupac is anymore. You hear stories of Tupac.
Thug life.
I won't deny you.
Come on.
So threw away all that kind of stuff and all kinds of mess that was out there, and I got rid of everything that I could. And as quickly as I could, I moved back out of that apartment, back into my mom's house, which was super humbling, and nothing like moving back in with your mom. But I knew she would help me stay out of trouble. And but that was the day, like, everything changed. In fact, let's be real. You're watching this video today because of that day in my life in 1997. Wow, otherwise, I would not be on video talking. You wouldn't care who I was. I'll be perfectly honest, there's a good chance I'd be in jail or something else. I definitely would not be successful in life without the Lord. But that was the day. And so in our family, we call it Conversion Day. I think this is a biblical thing, and we call it Conversion Day. We celebrate it kind of like a birthday. And so we don't like overdo it, but every Conversion Day, every year on March 6th, we always take my family out to dinner, like my kids and stuff, and we just hang out with them, and I tell my story on a level that they can understand. You know, Elijah right this second is 8 years old, and so he's not going to get the depths of my story. I can't go into all the detail of some of the stuff because he's 8, you know. But I tell my story and I make it real clear to them, like we would not be here today. I would not be with your mom. I would not be here. I'll be honest, I'd probably have kids with several different women, and I'd probably be on my 3rd or 4th marriage, and you know, and I would not be here today, and you would not be here today if it wasn't for that day. And that's actually more important than your birthday in some regards. It's some ways more important than some of the other holidays we celebrate, because this is your Conversion Day. This is the day that changes everything. And I think that's part of what creates a legacy in your house, right? Because you're passing this on to your kids, and they're catching the vision that this is the day that changed everything. And you know, and you know, as your kids start following Christ, I think it really becomes a powerful moment, because they can look at how my dad's life was changed, my life was changed. You look back at that day. So my challenge for anybody watching this video is figure out your Conversion Day. I'm gonna be super honest, like I do not know for a fact that it's March 6th, but a number of years ago, I went back and I did like all kinds of research. Like I remember it was raining the next week, and I did all this research and I honed it down, and I'm pretty sure it was March 6th, but it was probably 10 years after that I actually went back and tried to figure it out, because I decided to start doing this. And so even if you don't know the exact birthday, right? We got all these girls in Nepal. We don't know their birthday. We created birthdays for them.
Wow, that's cool.
You know, there were slaves in America for so long. They didn't always know their birthday, but they created birthdays for them. Listen, if you don't know when your spiritual birthday was, that's okay. Just go find one, pick out the time season, and start celebrating with your family. I think there's something super powerful about celebrating your Conversion Day.
There really is. Looking back and seeing really where God has brought you from. Yeah, I think that's super cool, man. And let me ask you this. There's probably some people who were brand new Christians. When you got converted, what Bible translation did you read? Like, where did you start?
Well, this is my perspective. If people who argue over which Bible translation to read, that's probably not the people you want to mentor you, because they've already lost their first love, and now they're so intellectual that they're kind of so spiritual, they're no earthly good, so spiritually minded, but no earthly good. Here's my answer to that, quite honestly. Read a Bible translation. You have all these translations. The Bible was originally written in 3 different languages: Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic. Mostly Greek and Hebrew, really 2 primarily. 3 languages altogether, though. It gets translated like every ancient document. It's got to get translated so you can read it, because you don't read Greek and Hebrew, let's be real. And so that's how you get all these translations, because sometimes that confuses people.
Right.
Like, how did we get all these translations? It's not a big deal. That happens with every ancient document. And then it keeps getting translated. You know, King James is old. You probably don't understand it so much. It's written by King James and not LeBron, the actual King James.
You mean it wasn't the King James of, okay, cool.
Yeah, King James didn't actually dunk or win championships or be the second greatest basketball player to Michael Jordan ever.
That's a different podcast.
Maybe even Kobe too. Anyway, I'm just saying. So the real King James, I mean, that was written 500 years ago. And so, you know, you're not going to understand all the these and thous and all that kind of stuff. So get a modern translation. There's the NIV. The New King James is actually great. The New Living. There's all kinds of modern translations. The most common out there is NIV. If you're a part of our church, that's what I preach from 99% of the time. I preach from NIV. That way, if you're pulling it up on your phone, you always know what to go, and you're not reading a different translation than I'm preaching from. NIV's trusted and good. But I would make it less about which translation and more about the fact that I'm actually reading it, you know.
That's so cool. So simply put, just read the Bible.
Yeah. And can I say those? Read for quality, not quantity. Like some people are like, I gotta read 3 chapters a day, or I gotta read 5 chapters a day, or whatever. Like it's better to read like one little segment. Like, you know, the Bible's broken down not just by chapter and verse, but by segments of this topic. Read one little segment and sit there and go, all right, God, what are you speaking to me? Because it's so much better to read a small segment and God speak to you than to read a whole bunch and check it off your to-do list. Then you become spiritual and pharisaical.
That is super, super practical. And that's what we want to do here. You get it. What transition we read? Just read the Bible.
Right.
Read small segments and allow God to use it. And also, I love the idea of finding out your conversion day. I'm gonna find out my other birthday. Come on. Day where God really changed my life. And so that's what we're here to do. We're here to answer questions that you want to hear. And so catch us back here next time on this video of Let's Talk. Peace.
God bless you guys.